It'll be a good one. And we have our good friend joining the show to help us break it down. Kory Woods covers the Detroit Lions and Detroit Pistons, which is coming up in the near future here for MLive.com to help us break down the Browns game and preview the Bengals game and get some of his thoughts on some of the injuries that occurred. Please welcome to the show our good friend Kory Woods. What's going on, Kory?
Hey, what's going on?
Kory, I appreciate you for joining, number one. Number two, I want to get your thoughts because we haven't been able to talk to you. Just on this past weekend, man, Lions taking care of business, beating the Browns, how good they looked, even though offensively they might not have played their best game. What do you think of the Lions and their ability to take care of teams they're supposed to take care of? Because we see the Packers struggle with that. They lose to the Browns, the same team. Packers have a shootout with the Cowboys. They can't finish those guys either. And then the Lions just seem to take care of teams they're supposed to take care of. Even though it was the Browns, Kory, what'd you make of that win for the Lions?
Well, there's a couple of ways you can look at that. I wouldn't look at it as just, whoa, what is going on right there? My computer just did a little bit of something. It said I need to plug in. So let me plug in. Let me go ahead and do that before I go ahead and shut off. But I think the one thing that you have to really take away from this is that they got the job done. They picked up the W. It is a Browns team that, yeah, their offense isn't clicking, but they have a very stout defense. We've seen that front. I mean, the pressure that Myles Garrett was getting was just crazy. It looked like Goff was running for his life just about every second. But, I mean, to put 34 points on that defense, that's nothing to sneeze at. So you got to go ahead and give them credit for that alone. And I'm going to chime back in as soon as I get this thing plugged up.
No, you're good. We were talking actually we were talking also this. I mean, you look at the I guess the contrast between the Lions beating the Browns, even though they're it's the Browns with that defense, and then we brought up the other day, Boone, how the Packers scored 10 points against that same team.
Against that Browns, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
perspective a little bit on what this Lions offense can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in the Packers, and we'll get to our power rankings later, by the way, which we're going to do those. But yeah, you got to take those wins as they come, man. Who gives a shit? But
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like Dan Campbell said, you're never going to apologize for a win. Sometimes good teams have tough days in the office, and they just came off of a very tough win in Baltimore, short week. And Dan Campbell said it best, it's not good enough. I mean, the way they played if they played that way, let's say against the Eagles, even the Chiefs, who are kind of going through their own issues, you play like that against or the Rams, they'll play them later on. The Lions would lose that game because of the mistakes they made. The communication, the chemistry between Jared Goff and J-Mo wasn't there. There were a couple of times where J-Mo had bad ball tracking, but there were also some times where Goff himself admitted that he could have done a better job of getting the ball to him. I think that was pretty much just a really big thing that kind of stuck out to me the most, was that they just couldn't get that going, and David Montgomery couldn't get it going. But aside from that, I mean, it was a solid performance, and I think that you got to go ahead and hang your hat on just being able to find different ways to win games, because that's what it's all about. I know we see what they did to the Chicago Bears, and we know how high-powered this offense is, and people are expecting, you got to go ahead and blow every opponent out. No, I mean, this is the NFL. There's blowouts don't happen every week. Teams don't get bludgeoned like that every week. So just take this as it is, and you just hope that they take Dan's words and roll that into Sunday against Cincinnati, because now if you're going ahead and going up against Cincinnati and you knock them down and you improve the 4-1, okay, now these next two games, you're hoping to go into the bye week at worst 6-2, but at best 7-1.
Yeah, Kory, one thing too, I think one of the most, the things that I want to hear from you the most on, in your opinion, the injuries in the secondary with DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold. Just want to get your confidence level, Kory, in kind of moving forward, especially without DJ Reed, and when TA gets back, and then obviously you have Amik and Rocky Sin, and then today they just signed Trey Flowers to the practice squad. I know the next week, obviously with Jake Browning, it's hard to tell, but you do have, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and then the next week it's Patrick Mahomes and Xavier Worthy and those guys. And then right after that, it's the Bucs with Emeka Ibuka, potentially Mike Evans, like a really deep wide receiver room as well. Are you confident the next 2 or 3 weeks with this corner room, or how do you think they're going to go about figuring this thing out with these major injuries that they've had?
Well, the good thing that Dan Campbell said is that they're only expecting Terrion Arnold to miss this upcoming game. And I think when you look at the way the Bengals have been playing in the past couple of weeks, yeah, they still have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But I mean, if you've seen that game, I mean, these guys have only scored 13 points over the last 2 weeks without Joe Burrow, and they've given up 76. So, and also on top of that, I mean, when you're looking at this one, I know I'm going on a little bit off the board, but just looking at the total overall game, I mean, their defense is giving up 270 yards in the air. So I know we're talking about how the corners are going to look. I think that they're going to be fine overall, is as long as the Lions are able to that their defense is able to show up. I think if they're able to generate pressure on Jake Browning with that front seven, I think it will be able to make for an easy day in the office, or an easier day in the office for that secondary. Meek Robertson, he showed up last year when Carlton Davis went down. He played stellar defense on Justin Jefferson. And then, you got Khalil Dorsey, you got Avonte Maddox, you got Rockison. Some of those guys you could probably rotate in. I think that those guys will be solid for a game or two. And the great thing about it is that, DJ Reed, they're not expecting him to be gone for the season. So I think that they could get creative with how they dial up, how they disguise their coverages and whatnot. But Campbell said it best. He said that he told Brad that they're going to probably need a body for at worst the practice squad, and hence you see the signing you just mentioned. But I'm thinking that if Reed is on an injury where he does not have to go to IR, I think they'll be fine over the next couple of weeks. If he does have to go to IR, though, then you're talking about 4 weeks minimum, and then trying to ramp him back up. You might need to probably explore some things by the trade deadline.
It's time to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper, because you guys are football fans, and if you think you know football, then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players. If you're a Lions fan, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money if your picks win. Use the promo code CT Sports, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, as always, and stay tuned, because I will be giving out my picks weekly for all Detroit Lions fans. Remember to gamble responsibly. Yeah, Kory, another one, Lee McNeil, which I know Dan brought up that he's close to returning. What kind of impact do you kind of foresee with him? I know this defensive line is playing really well. Tyleik Williams obviously thriving. He's getting better every single game, it seems like. And you have DJ Reader. But what would the impact of Lee McNeil make for this defensive line, kind of heading to a tougher stretch of the schedule the next couple of weeks?
Well, I would say this. He's coming off of a very serious injury. I mean, we're talking about the ACL, so we're talking about a guy that big coming back that quickly. I question it, but at the end of the day, they have doctors that have degrees and stuff in this. So
Fair.
who am I to judge? But if the doctors clear him and he's ready to go, hey, roll him out there. I mean, it could only be a plus. The way they're rolling right now, I don't think you need to go ahead and throw Mack in there and give him 100% of the snaps. I think you can kind of slow roll him in there. They're talking about getting him back in there for the bye, so maybe slow roll him in there a little bit over the next couple of games whenever they get him back, and kind of go from there. I think probably the ideal situation would be to throw him in there at the game right before the bye week, go into the bye week, and then have him come back and kind of start getting him back to his normal production, to his normal snap count after that. And then too, it's going to be good for that line. I mean, you're able to rotate in Tyleik Williams and to spell Reader and Mack when needed, and Tyreek is obviously going to be the guy for the future. I think it can only help them out right now. And the fact that they're playing this well without McNeil, I mean, it's only a plus to get a guy like that back. I mean, we're talking about somebody that was on a Pro Bowl arc last year.
Yeah, one thing too, Kory, through 4 weeks, we've talked with you every week. Can I just get a player from you, maybe on each side of the ball, that's kind of surprised you from what they've been doing over the last couple of weeks here, offensively and defensively?
I will say, okay, offensively, I don't want to say I'm surprised, but as well as Jahmyr, we know Jahmyr Gibbs is great. We know he's dynamic. I just thought that I would have seen a little bit more usage of David Montgomery in certain situations. We know he had a rough day in the offense versus the Browns, but we also know what he did on Monday versus the Ravens. But I thought I would just see him, utilized a little bit more. I think you need to find a way to get him more than 9 carries in a game. On defense, I don't know if there's anybody that's really surprising me, but there's one guy I will just highlight. Unfortunately, he's not going to he should be coming back for this game. So Zach Cunningham, I just think that is a guy that has just been a great pickup for them. He obviously did not play on this past week, but he just been a guy that is, I don't like Kelvin Shepherd said, I don't know how he's not a starter in this league. Every time he comes in the game, it's like he's always making a play or impacting the defense in a positive manner. So those would be the two things that I would say stuck out to me.
Yeah, Kory, what'd you make of the offensive line? I mean, they have a lot of sack in 3 games. That hasn't happened for the Lions. I mean, since I think the day they started using the word Super Bowl. We've never seen it with Matthew, and even with this offensive line being as good as it has been, not to take anything away from how great it's been. What have you made of just new look offensive line the last 3 games, not allowing a sack? I know against the Browns, it was a lot of Jared maneuvering in the pocket and preventing a sack. But just your thoughts on the offensive line, how they're gelling together through 3 games or 4 games now at this point.
I mean, it's a little bit bigger than that, Jeff. I mean, this is the first time that the Lions have gone 3 games without allowing a sack since they created the stat itself.
Oh shit! All right,
Yeah. So I mean, that's just, it's a fact. Since 1982, this is when they started creating stats as a stack. Sacks as a stat. That's a tongue twister. That's the first time the Lions have gone 3 straight games without allowing one, and it just goes to show you that after what happened to them in week 1, the guys, the coaches, the players, they weren't giving lip service. They said that it was communication errors. They said that it was fixable. I talked to Christian Mahakany personally. He said that he took ownership for his errors in week 1. He was really explosive about it. He said it's all communication. I'm not BS. Basically said I'm not bullshitting you. This is all communication. It can get fixed, and you're seeing it. Yeah, Myles Garrett, got some pressure on him on Sunday, but I mean that's Myles freaking Garrett, and I mean, and also too, they got Malik out there. Mason Graham, that's a pretty darn good defensive line. So the fact that they were able to do what they did on week 2 and week 3, because the Bears got a nice defensive line as well, and then you do that again against that Browns unit, just goes to show you that Hank Fraley, Dan Campbell, John Moore, that whole unit, they got that together.
Yeah, another thing here, Kory, too, something that Jeff and I talked about, especially with these Dan Campbell press conferences, we actually brought up yesterday. We haven't really heard him talk about Josh Pascal at all. And then obviously Malcolm Rodriguez, and there's going to be some reinforcements outside of Ali McNeil in this. Do you have any idea or a thought process on, let's say, like Malcolm Rodriguez and Josh Pascal going into the next few weeks? Because those were guys like Josh was, someone that I felt like a lot of us thought might have been back within the first few weeks. And then obviously Malcolm was a little bit more longer. I think they said like November. Do you think that those are 2 guys that are going to be returning here in the next month or so?
I would say, just from whispers I'm hearing, I could see Rodrigo returning at some point. I don't know an exact date, but I mean, just hearing things, I could probably see Rodrigo returning at some point. I don't know when, so don't quote me on that as saying, hey, Kory's saying Rodrigo's back. But Josh Pascal, that is just something that is he's on a non-football injury list. So it sounds like something else is going on. They haven't tipped their hand on what that is. So I don't know if he's a guy that you can kind of bank on being around anytime soon. That's also another thing when you're talking about trade deadline moves. That they may have to go ahead and go add another pass rusher because you don't know what's going to go on with Josh Pascal.
Yeah, that thing's I don't know what's going on with that. Well, I don't know if maybe have they. Well, we'll find out. Maybe someone will ask it at a press conference or something like that.
It's come up loosely. It's just been the same thing. It's been really tight-lipped. Just he's not coming along at the way that they would have hoped by now. So maybe that's something that'll come up again tomorrow. But I mean, it's pretty much been the same thing anytime you bring up Pascal's name. But I will say this: we have seen him around the facility. It's just that there's no timetable on when he's returning.
That's fair. Before we get you out of here, Kory, can I just get your thoughts on how you think this Bengals game is going to go? You can say if you think it's going to be an absolute ass whooping, but what are you kind of looking to see against the Bengals here? I know it's the Bengals; they stink, but anything matchups or anything you want to see continue for the Lions against this team, or rebound against this team?
I just think the main thing for the Lions is just to not look at what the Bengals have done over the past couple of weeks without Joe Burrow. Don't look at the amount of points they've given up over the past couple of games. They need to just go out there and do what they've done to bad teams in recent years and not steamroll them. That's not let up. I mean, there are some times you will see games where it feels like the better team is playing down to their competition. They're in a really rare position right now where they have a chance to go into this bye week, like I said, as at best 7-1. At worst, they should be 6-2. But and then if you want to talk about where that second loss will come from, I'm thinking that Tampa's tough.
Yeah. We said Tampa or Kansas City probably one.
I can see them losing to. I think that KC is very beatable. Tampa is just going to be that's a coin flip for me.
Yeah.
It starts though with Sunday in Cincinnati. You just can't go in there and play around, make it a business trip, go in there, handle business. The things that Dan Campbell, we don't know what the intricate details of what he said needs to be cleaned up. We all might have an idea, but clean that up this weekend. Go out there, handle business, and try to go ahead and end this road trip at worst 1-1.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the hell out of your Kory. You guys can follow Kory, of course, at Kory Woods on X and check him out. Does great work for MLive.com. Kory, much love to you, my friend. We'll see you next time. We'll catch you.
Thanks a lot. Peace.
Appreciate it, Kory.
Kory Woods joining the show here. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.